Mr. Wendell Pierce, how you doing, sir? How you doing,
Good,
sir?
sir. Again.
Um, I really insisted that I get to talk to you on this one. I know we got to talk for the Wire anniversary and a couple other times, but I always like these moments, and I wanted a chance to talk to you one on one. And we're gonna get to that a little bit later. But my first question, as James Greer, you've now done about 30 episodes with Jack Ryan, and I know you did like 30 episodes with The Odd Couple and Suits, and like 30 episodes with Tremaine. But like with The Wire,
Wow.
you are on over 60 episodes, and I wonder, like, do you still remember like those scripts, some of those lines from those performances, from all those things, or like do they get lost in the new work that you do?
Oh, you still have great memories of stuff that you do, when it has a lasting impact. There's stuff that stays with you. And then it's great when you meet folks who remind you of things that you've done, and it immediately comes back, and you had forgotten about it, and it comes back. But there are things that are memorable. Yeah, very memorable.
When you look at James Greer and you look at Bump, two different people that were very wise and get into the crux of the case, that was figuring out stuff. I mean, I think Bunk was just a little bit more of an outlaw in his his policing
You're right.
than James Greer. But are there any similarities to those characters, or to the approach that you do to those characters?
Yeah, definitely. You know what the similarity was? I found in my research, which is, for me, I wanted to know what made a black man want to become a cop when I did Bunk. And what I learned was so many black police officers became police because they knew the 1% of the neighborhood or their community that was causing the crime did not represent the 99% of the good folks that lived there in the neighborhood, who were disproportionately affected by their crime. And they were just like, that's not Miss Ann, that's not Mr. Joe that I know. It's this 1%. And that's the thing that inspired them to become police officers. We talked about that in a memorable scene from The Wire with me and Omar. With Jack Ryan and James Greer, that was the first thing I did, was challenge my consultant. I said, I have to be frank with you. How can you be a part of the CIA knowing what they've done in our community? Back in the day, there was an assassination attempt, of Malcolm X, and things like that. So, and he said, you fight racism, right? I said, yeah. He said, we both do. He said, we'll fight it wherever it is. And I choose to fight it inside the CIA instead of being outside the CIA. I felt as though I could be more effective. And that really opened my eyes. And that opened the door to how I play James Greer, because he then challenged me. He said, you're still an American, right? I said, yeah. He said, how can you call yourself an American knowing how this country treated you, right? He said, because you want to make it a more perfect union. You still believe in the fact that you can have an impact and change it. And that is the thing that drives James Greer. And I think that's the most important depiction, an innovative depiction of a CIA officer, showing an African-American who has that sort of viewpoint. And that's what I was attempting to do. Whether I did it or not, I don't know. But I love that. That informed me and Betty Gabriel's relationship. She is a Black female and my boss, and younger than me. All of that influenced it. And so those are the similarities of the men, right? But also the differences too. He was at a different level and more unique experience when you're an intelligence officer than just a beat cop or just a homicide cop. But a desire to have impact as a Black man. That's the similarities.
I know you've been receiving high accolades for your role in Death as a Salesman. You're a great theater actor as well as on screen. And I know that, SAG-AFTRA and WGA are like fighting different elements of technology and other stuff that's been affecting the craft. Do you feel like AI is going to have any effect on theater, as it's, of course, having on the writer's room and other stuff that's happening on the screen? Do you think there's an AI effect on theater?
Well, AI, first of all, it's all going to be figured out. Every time we come to a nexus of a new technology, there's always this moment of synergy of where it can go one way or another. We have to protect our work. And I always believe we're going to figure it out, because no matter how great AI is, you cannot eliminate the human element. You cannot eliminate the human element. So it can have an impact in theater too, because, well, first of all, it comes to the writing. You know, someone says, we're going to put in all these scripts, you know, write me an August Wilson play, you know, hear all his plays, all of his writings, all of his interviews, and the computer then spits out this new play that is just close enough to what we might recognize as August Wilson. And that's what the writers are striking against right now. Yeah, you can't do that without giving August Wilson his due. So in that way, it will affect the theater. Also, there's a lot of technology in theater now. I just saw Hamlet in Shakespeare in the Park. And the ghost of Hamlet is beautiful, technical. It wasn't a hologram, because they just used the screen and they used the set, a picture in the set comes alive as the ghost of Hamlet's father. And it was voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. It was great, you know, but even with all that great technology, it was Sam, right? It was Sam L. whose voice really made the performance. But it could show you how, you know, they could have used any sort of voice and created an AI voice by putting in Sam Jackson-like voice, you know. So we have to protect ourselves against that, watermark those moments, and then we'll work through it. But AI can affect us all in every level of our lives. And so we just have to come to a way to make sure that people are compensated when their work is stolen.
Yeah. Well, lastly, I got to bring you back to, like, right now, I just moved to Nashville just a year ago. And really, this is the place I met you at a little over 25 years ago on the set of Get on the Bus, where I was a Vanderbilt student. You were playing a character named Wendell, who was a
right.
student who was talking begrudgingly. I mean, you was pretty much Clarence Thomas on that bus. And
Yes.
and I just want you to know, like, that character that Xavier played by Hill Harper that got a camera, I went and bought that same camera, and that was the start of it. I went and started interviewing people. It was all from that experience with you and Ozzy and Isaiah and all the great people that Spike gave me that opportunity. But you were one of the great first and kindest actors.
Man, I did not know that. I've only known you as a journalist and a purveyor of the culture since. I did not know that's where it started. That was one of the best experiences I've ever had, man. That was great. Ozzy Davis, to be working with Ozzy Davis in that collection of artists and Spike and all, and yourself, that's fantastic. You know, Nashville holds that special place in my heart because of that, you know. And I also think, I just recently was there. I had a friend, unfortunately, lost her mother, and I went there for the funeral. And I went the African American Museum of Music is one of the best museums in the world, not just the States, the world. And being from New Orleans, I was ashamed that we had not done something similar to all the music that came out of New Orleans and the creation of jazz and all. The section in that museum on New Orleans and the birth of jazz just put New Orleans to shame. So it was really, really wonderful. That's a great museum. And I'm glad you were making that connection again to Nashville.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's actually full circle. I was biomedical engineering before Spike gave me a job on a film. I never worked in film. I started this company, left school, and now 25 years later, I'm coming back to finish my degree. I have one more year left. So I'm back at Vanderbilt, not a Black conservative, but back here doing my thing, just to figure it out.
But always, and even if you were a Black I would try to sway you not to be like Clarence or that film version of Wendell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for the time. I'm always a big fan of your social media, your performances on stage, and just you as a person. Every time we've met, you've just been like kind and thoughtful, man. And I'm a huge fan of Wendell
Oh,
Pierce.
thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Jamal, and congratulations, man. I'm glad that the lasting thing is always the work that you do and the people you do it with. And who would have thought that on the set 25 years ago, right, we would be where we are today, and that just proves to you that it's about the work you do and the people that you do it with. And I was honored to do that work with you. So that's great, man.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for the time.